Inside PressBox is presented by Friedmont Mortgage. Don't make a 30-year mistake by choosing the wrong lender. Go to Friedmont.com now for all of your mortgage needs.
We want to be here. We want to compete. We want to collaborate. And we want to grow together. We want to learn from Johns Hopkins' experience and from its culture of success.
That was Big Ten Commissioner James Delaney expressing the overwhelming desire of the Big Ten to bring Hopkins men's lacrosse into the fold. And joining me now is head coach of the Blue Jays, Dave Pietramala. Dave, thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Now, this is a kind of historic move, not only for you, but for lacrosse in general, because you're spearheading really what is now one of the biggest conferences in America as far as lacrosse is concerned.
Yeah, I use the word monumental. When you've got 130 years of doing things a certain way, and you decide to alter that, it's a big change. And the fact that the Big Ten Conference, which has never opened its doors to anybody for affiliate membership, selected Johns Hopkins in the sport of lacrosse, it just lends tremendous credibility to our sport, to our program, and certainly to the Big Ten Lacrosse Conference.
Now, some of the lacrosse purists, if you will, would maybe say, hey, you're selling out, or this is a knee-jerk reaction, you're doing what everybody else is doing, but it's really none of the cases.
Well, I'm a lacrosse traditionalist, so I'm one of those guys. And when we first began to think about this, I couldn't fathom Johns Hopkins not being independent. I'm a Hopkins alum, I'm a former player, and it's what we all know, and it's what we all loved about it. But as you know, and most people are starting to see, athletics is changing. And what was athletics for my dad and your dad is not athletics anymore. And lacrosse has really changed, the landscape has changed. So we were really forced to consider these options of staying independent or joining a conference. And after we evaluated it closely, it was a pretty simple answer when you really looked and delved into it.
How much did fellow rival Maryland joining the Big Ten, was that part of the decision process, or was it just one of those things where the Big Ten was the right fit for you more than it was about who else was playing there?
We have a great rivalry with Maryland, and it's something we value a great deal. So the fact that they went into the Big Ten, there's always concern, are we going to lose that rivalry? And I think both programs made it very clear that they didn't want to. But the fact that we chose the Big Ten was for the benefits it has for Johns Hopkins University and the Johns Hopkins lacrosse program.
Baltimore's often been the hotbed of lacrosse for the entire nation. What about the other rivalries, the Greyhounds, UMBC, Towson? How is it going to affect you guys?
Well, somewhere along the line, we're going to have to make some really difficult choices. We've got some games that we just think are very important to our program. Obviously, Loyola University is one of those. Virginia, Syracuse,
sure, yeah.
Princeton, Carolina, those are games that have been staples for Johns Hopkins. So we are going to be put in a position where we're going to have to make some challenging choices. Make no mistake, the local games remain important to us. So we'd like to try and find a way, to keep at least a few of those games. Navy's a game that's just got rich tradition behind it. So the exciting part is we're going to be able to maintain a lot of those traditional rivalries. And then the cool part is we're going to start new rivalries with schools like Michigan and Penn State and Ohio State. And, that's exciting for us.
Now, particular to Hopkins lacrosse, is this going to make it easier or harder for you as far as getting a bid each year to the tournament?
You join a conference because in part because you want to get a second bite of the apple.
Right.
And you look at what's gone on this year. There are teams that have had, so-so regular seasons, and yet come conference tournament time, to their credit, they go on a run, they have a great 3 or 4 days, and bang, they're in the NCAA tournament. That's exciting for us, but when you look at it, the schedule is going to become even a little bit more challenging. And that's something we want. We feel like this year our RPI and strength of schedule hurt us a little bit. So in this case, we feel like this will bolster our RPI strength of schedule. So if for some reason we don't happen to win the conference championship, which obviously will be a challenge with the teams that are in it, we do have a better chance at an at-large bid.
What does it say about the kind of landscape of lacrosse overall, with a lot of teams starting to move? As we know, Ohio State's going to return to the Big Ten. They're leaving the ECAC. Loyola's moving to the Patriot League. You guys are not part of a conference. Is that just the way college athletics are going, or does that say something overall about the improving state of lacrosse as a sport?
I think it says something about both. In regards to college athletics, there's security in a conference. Yeah. And there's this fear that there could be 4, 5, 6, 7 super conferences. And what do the Olympic sports, the lacrosses, the baseballs, the track and field, what do those sports do when football and basketball do that? The other part is, at least for Johns Hopkins and for the sport of lacrosse, we made a commitment a number of years ago to try to grow the game, and at Hopkins we've always been a proponent of it. I think that's one of the neat things about our sport, is people are committed to that. And in order to grow the game, the decision was made to go to the automatic qualification process, which would allow a team like Albany, a team like High Point, that's a new program, or Marquette, to have an opportunity to compete for a conference championship, an automatic bid to the NCAA, which then could lead to more resources being dumped into the program, more excitement, more energy. So we've gone that way, and the sport's just continuing to grow that way.
10 seconds. Why the Big Ten as opposed to another conference?
Very similar goals and aspirations, both academically and athletically. They are a class act. We think they're a very stable conference, and we think philosophically, while they're different than us physically, philosophically there are some very similar things we believe in, again, academically and athletically.
He's Dave Pietramala, head lacrosse coach of Johns Hopkins. You can read more about Hopkins' move into the Big Ten and watch more video from the press conference right now at PressBoxOnline.com. We'll be right back with Towson head coach Mike Gottlieb. Don't go away. Make your reservations now for PressBox's second Thursday luncheon coming up June 13th at Padonia Station. This month's guest speaker, Maryland head football coach Randy Edsall. Go to PressBoxOnline.com now for details.